it's good. You know, sometimes you get your little brother excited when you're playing basketball and stuff, let him get the lead, and then you just come back and take it back.
And welcome to Bitter Rivals with Ted and Tom. One of the most painful things I'm about to go through these next 28 minutes, following a admittedly convincing 28-14 victory for Sparty over my beloved Wolverines. And I will say this right up front. My partner, as wrong as he was in predicting the Michigan State and the Notre Dame score of the 14-point blowout, whatever, against the Irish, he nailed this one, 28-14. So I commend
First
you.
take.
Yeah.
First take. They always say on SATs, always go with your first guess.
He did the multiple choice, 28-14. 28-14 to me sounds too. It sounds like nothing ever happens 28-14. It's always a field goal, a safety, mixed extra point, whatever, to screw up the. But I'll say it right up front, Ted, your Spartan team was, and obviously in 4 years in a row, is really difficult for me to stomach. It's been just a really rough time for me these last few
Well,
months.
actually, you know,
4 in a row. I never thought I'd live to see that.
There were a couple things, if you go back to last week's show, that proved to be true as keys to the game. One of them was the trenches. And you said if Michigan can control that line of scrimmage from a defensive standpoint,
that's what I thought.
They'll be in the game. Unfortunately, from the get-go, your defensive line, and this, you know, football is not a quick fix. It's not like basketball where you can get a couple recruits and suddenly you're jumping 7 to 10 spots. Football, you got to build from the foundation.
Too many 85 scholarships. There's a lot of depth you got to develop.
And
you got to get experience.
I'm telling you, Tom, you go back and you look at that game film. Your defensive line was getting knocked off the ball 3 and 4 yards off the line of scrimmage.
There's no question about that.
It was embarrassing.
Well, I don't think you were embarrassed.
I was embarrassed for you.
I thought that. I thought Michigan's D-line was the key of putting pressure on Kirk Cousins and doing something with that running game of Michigan State's, in which they maintained Edwin
Zero
Baker.
sacks.
Yep.
Zero sacks for the game.
Michigan had been
5.5 tackles for loss.
Absolutely. And then on the reverse side of the ball, Michigan had only given up 2 sacks going into the game. I think they gave up 7 to
Michigan State, 7 sacks, 10 tackles for loss.
Right. Now, Michigan still had opportunities to hang in this game. Probably a couple of key elements.
Again, a key point that we said last week was the turnovers. And, you know, we identified on Michigan State side the interceptions. They had 7 going into that game. And fumbles gained by Michigan.
Right.
10. And 2 of those turnovers were key momentum changers. And, you know, I had flashbacks to about 10 or 15 games that I had seen over the last 15 years.
Here we go again.
And my brother was with me at the game. He said, "What are you so uptight?" He said, "Listen, I've seen this car crash before."
Right. No question about it. I do think that there was a couple critical points. Obviously, at the end of the first half, Michigan had outstanding field position in the last few minutes of the game.
Most of the first half.
Yeah, and then taking that 14-7 lead, that would have been huge. And then obviously the other one, the turnover, and they had the 4th and 1. Brady Hoke knows 10 times, million times more about, and Al Board just does about football than me. But having D-Rob in underneath and center, because I've seen him so many times in 4th and short when he's in the shotgun that he's much more effective, puts more pressure on the defense, and it was just jailbreak, and we saw what happened.
Let me ask you flat out: you think your offense is gimmicky?
Well, it has to be at this point. Their offensive line is undersized by Big Ten standards. You're talking, 285-pound linemen. I mean, Michigan State's going to see 335-pound linemen on average across the front for the Badgers of Wisconsin.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we are going to get to that. But I mean, Michigan's got to get back up, get some of their, get that power aspect of football back. But I thought that they hung in there. One thing about Michigan, they're going to play hard. And they did play hard this whole game. Disappointing, 4 losses in a row to Michigan State. I say, now I can see what you guys felt when on the other end, Jack Everly, my old radio partner, says, "Yeah, you think you had it tough with 4?" And when he was in college, it was 8 in a row, Michigan over Michigan State, and we had the 6 in a row not too long ago. We had the 5 in a row in the '80s, and now it's Michigan State's turn, and they played it tough. They didn't care if they got personal foul calls, as we obviously saw. We're going to talk about the Pat Narduzzi comment in a little bit, but it was a succinct strategy in Michigan State, and it worked. And see where they go from here. You're going to find out real quick with the.
The thing is, hey, Tom, when you have a bully, what do? You punch him right in the nose, and you keep punching him in the nose.
We saw a lot of punching
which is what we saw all Saturday. And it was chippy on both sides, Tom.
It was chippy on both sides, but there was one play in particular we're going to talk about later in this segment that I would like to get my colleagues' comment about, see what he thinks about that. Lots to talk about on Bitter Rivals with Ted and Tom. We'll be right back after this.
It's good, sometimes you get your little brother excited when you're playing basketball and stuff, let him get the lead, and then you just come back and take it back.
Welcome back, Bitter Rivals, Ted and Tom. We're talking obviously about Michigan State, the weekend battle where Michigan State 28-14 victorious over the Wolverines. And Ted, I want to refer to a comment by Joe Rexroth. Actually, it was his game article about the Michigan State approach to this game, specifically from a defensive standpoint, with defensive coordinator Pat Narduzzi, who's done a tremendous job with this Michigan State defense. And the strategy was 60 minutes of unnecessary roughness. And Pat Narduzzi says that's what we try to do, 60 minutes of unnecessary roughness. Just glad it didn't call every snap. So what the approach for Pat Narduzzi in this victory over Michigan State is, if you get flagged for any unsportsmanlike conduct, who cares? Well, in this episode of Bitter Rivals, if I get flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct, I'm going to take the Narduzzi route. Just so be it. So anyway.
Well, let me make one point. Football is a game of controlled rage.
Absolutely.
And you're taught to play up to the whistle. And some of those plays that were called for unnecessary roughness or roughing the quarterback were, in hindsight, I think, questionable. Now, some of them were clearly deserved. And you're going to get that. And we talked about that last week in terms of chippiness and just bonehead plays. Isaiah Lewis hitting a guy when he was out of bounds in the first half. I just, you see that play and you go, listen, when is this going to end?
Well, actually, Michigan State would have probably won the 07 game if it hadn't been for that. Remember those late hits right on the last two drives, a couple of late hits?
Oh, yeah. And it was the same sideline.
It was the same sideline on the western sideline. And so that's been going on. And actually, from an historic perspective, a lot of Michigan State, Michigan followers probably don't realize this, and I've learned this a lot from talking to, in my radio days with Jack Evling, talking to a lot of past players from the University of Michigan and Michigan State. And the one thing about this rivalry, and I remember vividly talking to Jared Bunch, who is an Ohio guy, who was captain of the Michigan team, didn't realize about the intensity of the rivalry, is you do not hang around the pile.
No.
After, this game gets away, when the play runs down, the whistle's blowing, you get away from that pile because it's chippy. That's just the way this rivalry has been. And when Michigan State, I'll never forget this, in 1971, they had a 6-5 team. They had 10 kids that were drafted in the NFL. That was, you talked to Michigan players on that 71 team, that was the hardest hitting, chippiest game, Michigan State. It's a chippy game. It's intense. And it's going to get a heck of a lot more intense after this game.
There's no reason to have this blowback from the Michigan fans just whining about how intense the game was. When you sit there and you rub someone's nose in the ground for as many years as Michigan State's had their face rubbed by Michigan, both players and fans, what goes around comes around.
Well, when you say what goes around comes around, it will come around for Michigan State University. In particular, Will Golston's behavior, okay? I'm talking about one particular play. The punch-in with Taylor Lewan, hey, I'm not even counting that. Taylor Lewan, the left tackle for University of Michigan, number 77, has a reputation of being that way.
His own teammate called him a dirty player.
That's Taylor Lewan.
Yep.
Got no problem with that one. Punch away, guys. Mm-hmm. I have a problem with Will Golston piling on Denard Robinson and twisting his helmet that could have caused significant injury. Okay? Let's go to that video right now, and I want to get your thoughts on that, Ted. Okay? So we got the punching part. What do you think the first part here, though, of the twisting of the helmet?
I think that's wrong. Okay? He got caught up in the motion of the game. He, in terms of the flag itself, you could argue that when he left his feet, the whistle had not blown. And with a quarterback like Denard Robinson, he has wiggled out of so many different situations.
You're not looking at the video, right?
I know. I looked at it a lot. Now that's where the flag was thrown. The ref did not see the helmet getting twisted. That is not where the flag was thrown.
I'm not talking about the flag. I'm not talking about the countless flags. I'm talking about the twisting of the helmet. You're Coach D'Antonio, okay? Ted Fox, what would you do from a disciplinary standpoint for Will Golston?
I think he's probably running stadium steps.
I'm not talking about what he is doing. You're the coach. What do you do?
I'm telling him that's not acceptable. You
cross what kind of discipline? Would you pull him out of the Wisconsin game?
No. You know what I would do? I would hold him out of the first series.
Indiana game.
I would hold him out of the first series.
Minnesota?
Just like Lloyd Carr did.
Well, that was, what year are you talking about? What evidence do you have on that?
Tim Biakapatuka.
Okay.
Do you want to go into that?
Okay. You have any evidence yourself?
No, but you do.
I don't have any evidence.
Yes, you do. You're just not coming clean. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I'm telling you what, Michigan State is looking very Miami Hurricane-ish right now, okay? They got tough players. But I'm telling you what, if they do that crap against Wisconsin, who's a lot tougher team than Michigan.
You're not going to see that the rest of the season.
Oh, yeah, you're not going to see it now because they know they're going to get their ass beat if they play against Wisconsin.
I'm telling you, this was such an emotional game for Michigan State, and to spend all week, all they heard about was the number 10, 11 Michigan team.
Okay.
And just how this path was cleared for them to go to Indianapolis for the Big Ten championship.
You're reading it from your perspective.
No, I'm talking about the coverage that Michigan
Let me
gets.
stop you a
And when
second.
you sit there and you read that, and you're saying, oh, wait a minute.
Read the paper. Why do you waste your time reading newspapers? Okay?
Well, I use my...
My point is this. I think Michigan State had a great opportunity with Mike Hart poking the stick with a verbal thing. Okay? It woke Michigan State up. It bonded their fans. Let me tell you something what's going to happen with this Will Golston thing. It was the poking of the stick. The rivalry, game on, folks, right now. Michigan, you say you
are 2 years away from game on.
Okay, hold on.
You still have to rebuild that
you're guaranteeing a victory for Michigan State in Ann Arbor.
We have 3 seniors on the defense.
Okay, so you're guaranteeing.
And on the 22.
So you are guaranteeing a victory in Ann Arbor for Michigan State next year. Is that correct?
I'm telling you, you're going to have your hands full.
Are you guaranteeing a victory?
Tom, I wouldn't be ridiculous to
No, you're not stupid.
Because you don't stick your neck out.
Well, you're not. You did that 1 ounce of stupidity, obviously, in the Notre Dame game, and it didn't work out. So I take it you're going to. The thing about it is that I like the fact that you hate the University of Michigan. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely.
You hate them.
Well, no. Let me be fair.
You hate them.
I hate the fan base. There's a lot I like about the University of Michigan. I'm not going to argue about the University of Michigan and its academic excellence. I'm not going to argue about the medical facility that they have at the University of Michigan. I would be stupid if I tried to trash that. But I will argue about programs like the sports management program that take your mercenaries.
Do you hate the university? You said it to me.
And I hate a lot of your fan base.
Have the balls to say it in front of camera like you say it to me. You say you hate the University of Michigan.
I hate the fan base.
You hate all the fans?
Well, most of them like you.
I hate Michigan State, okay? It's official. You heard it here. Better Rivals, Ted and Tom. We'll be back after this.
They need to check themselves sometimes. But just remember, pride comes before the fall.
Anything specific?
Just here, pride comes before the fall.
And welcome back to Bitter Rivals with Ted and Tom. Hey, Tom, I know this is going to be a rough stretch for you. You're coming into a bye week. God knows you earned it, and you're going to need it to lick all your wounds from the ass kicking you just took last Saturday. But I've got a little something for you. now that Michigan is going to not so much be in the headlines, I think it's appropriate that we have a Michigan-specific award, because Michigan really likes themselves and likes their awards. And what I'd like to do is honor a couple of Michigan players with a September Heisman Trophy. I'm actually going to offer, I'm going to go back and make it retroactive to 2009. So our 2009 September Heisman winner is Tate Forcier.
Manage the game. That's what the coaches are looking for me to do, and I'm going to try and do it.
In 2010 and 2011, we've got
back-to-back winners.
Back-to-back winners.
Very good.
Denard Robinson. Best Septembers ever.
Well, obviously the schedule has something to do with that, and obviously, you know, a 50-mile-an-hour wind with a person doesn't have a tight spiral. I mean, this is what not to blame the wind, but when you have a thrower like you know, Denard Robinson, who doesn't have that tight spiral, I mean, that was completely taken away in this game.
That's the whole reason why Devin Gardner was in there.
And he did throw better balls, but no, obviously, I mean, Denard Robinson's not a bad kid. He's
no.
Does Denard Robinson go out and say, I deserve this? This is a typical thing.
This award is for the Michigan fans.
You mock the kid.
No.
You're mocking the kid.
This award is for the Michigan fans that have this huge hole to fill in.
Who are the fans that you specifically talk to that really get your underwear in a twist?
I'm looking at one right now.
Other than me, and I don't talk about.
Tom, all you have to do is
you
jump
go on those flipping message boards. That's your mistake.
All you got to do is jump on there.
All these idiots that are RCMB and Wolverine.com. All those are 22-year-old punks out there that shoot their mouths off.
Forums.
Yeah, they're all, and they got nothing better to do. They're all these little geeks that they should be out partying.
I got a question for you, Tom.
Yeah.
When Bo Schembechler was at the University of Michigan, he had a banner up in the locker room that said, if you stay, you will be champions.
No, those who stay will be champions.
Yeah, whatever.
Get it right.
Okay.
Get it right.
I'm asking you, now, is it appropriate to put a sign up that says, those who stay will be champions of Washtenaw County?
Okay, we knew this was going to be not a championship year. I never said they were going
to wait a minute.
They were going to win the Big Ten title. I never said they were going to win the Big Ten title.
I
said they could win 9 games.
I saw people booking their hotels
throwing out all these
to
people,
Indianapolis.
These fictitious people out there. That's
6
all
and
you do.
0.
That's all you do.
6-0 going into the game. Yeah,
gloat all you want. All I know is on Saturday night, I'm going to be the biggest Badger fan. And finally, Michigan fans are seeing the light. Your second favorite team, Michigan fans, is who's ever playing Michigan State. Forget about this crap about hating Ohio State. You got to hate Michigan State. These people are more abrasive. There's more white trash out there in East Lansing than any other community in the state.
Please. Where do you think the term Walmart Wolverine came from?
Hey, trust me, that goes both ways. I've seen
okay,
lots of pictures.
Let me give me your snappy repartee. What was it?
Never mind. Never mind. But anyway, no, I'm going to be a big Badger fan, and God forbid that Michigan State pulls this one off. You know what the biggest shocker of the week? That ESPN Game Day, Chris Fowler's got to be cringing at this thought.
Not Chris Fowler. I'm telling you, if I was Desmond Howard, I would dip myself in Kevlar.
I don't care about he can take care of himself. I'm talking about Chris Fowler's attitude towards Michigan State, because the fact that he had that, when Lee Corso had that catapulting beer bottle fling over his head the 97 game, and he did that feature on us that year, and he said, I'm never coming back to that place. And
he was back in 99. Come on.
He was in the stadium. He was in the stadium, protected.
Oh,
now he's going to be out, God knows where, out there with all those idiots.
It's going to be a love fest, except for that idiot Desmond Howard.
But it'll be nighttime.
And how was his prediction?
Couch burning weather out there at Michigan State. They love to burn them couches, and there'll be plenty to go around on Saturday night, win or lose. Because Michigan State fans, do you burn a couch when you win, or do you burn a couch when you lose? I guess it doesn't matter. Back after this, Rivals Dad Talk.
This might sound arrogant, and if it is, it is. We're Michigan.
I'm telling them it's not over. It's just starting. It's not over. It'll never be over here.
Welcome back, BitterRivals.com. You know, I want to remind our fans, Ted, I don't think we've done this enough, to give us your feedback on our video podcasts, on our blogs that we do every week. Ted at BitterRivals.com, Tom at BitterRivals.com. We want this to be your website to create the animosity that I'm absolutely embracing.
You don't have to create the animosity.
I got a lot of
It's
animosity. I probably got my blood, my maize and blue blood is boiling more.
Let me leave you with a
animosity
quote.
Towards Michigan State.
Let me leave you
ever in my life.
Let me leave you
even
with
more than 2001.
Let me leave you with a quote from my favorite head coach, Mark D'Antonio. If you recall, he made the quote, "When are we going to stop bowing down to Michigan?"
Yeah, don't bow down.
We've stopped bowing down.
Don't bow down to them. Punch them and twist their helmets. Do that instead. That'll stir the rivalry up. Anyway,
that looks like as good a place as ever to end this show. So stop by next week for more of Bitter Rivals with Ted and Tom.
LSU rivalry has gone. It's gone, well, frankly, to the billboards. Check out what we found out last night. Near the Frandor Shopping Center in East Lansing, a digital billboard ripping Michigan. Just every way you can, minutes after the game. It's sponsored by Bitter Rivals, who started a website called MichiganIsOurLittleSister.com. There are 8 different images, and they will be up all week in Frandor and one on I-96. Bitter Rivals paid a few $1,000s for those, and you can get all sorts of mementos if you go there. Really? If you're really into the little sister thing and you really want to rub it into your Michigan fan.
All right.
They got it covered.
Well,